So we're back, talking about making a difference. We left off the last podcast after sharing the first two principles concerning making a difference. The first one was, you never know what little thing can change a person's entire day. We want to encourage you to just focus on the little things when it comes to making a difference. It doesn't have to be huge. Send a card, share a thought, buy a small gift. Something small will do it. You don't have to go extravagant. The second principle we shared was, you never know what someone is actually going through. Even when we're experiencing something difficult, we tend to wear a mask. We don't want people to know we're hurting, even though many times people can actually see it without us actually saying anything. Reach out to people, because you never know if the word that you speak will make the difference. You never know what that kind act will accomplish. Now, the third thing we need to know about making a difference is, most of the time, the cost of making a difference is extremely small. A moment of your time, a second of thoughtfulness. We waste far more time than we realize. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse number 16 says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming the time means to make the best use of it. Make the time that you spend count for eternity. $1 spent, a second to share a post, a few minutes of listening. I enjoy that fellowship. What costs so little to us has such a large return of difference being made. Stella McCarthy, the daughter of Paul McCarthy, said this, everyone can do simple things to make a difference, and every little bit really does count. Again, you don't have to spend lots of money or sacrifice in enormous ways to make a difference. Well, here's the fourth thing. Making a difference is mostly an intentional endeavor. While it is possible to encourage someone accidentally, we do stand a better than average chance of missing the opportunity if we don't live intentionally concerning making a difference. If we don't purposefully choose to engage, the word that we should speak will not be spoken. The gift that we should give will not be given, and the time that we should be spending won't be spent. The phone does not actually dial a number accidentally. Of course, that is if you don't sit on it. A letter does not accidentally get placed into the mailbox. The gift does not accidentally get purchased. Here's a great quote. Living with intention is saying no to all the things that aren't important so that we can say yes to what matters the most. When we don't live intentionally, two things happen. We end up spending our time on things that really just don't matter. Another way of saying is that we waste time. When I don't live intentionally, I spend too much time watching TV. I spend too much time in the Xbox. I spend too much time thumbing through Facebook or looking through Snapchat. Without living intentionally, I waste so much of my life. This is time that I could be using to make a difference in someone else's life. If we're going to make that difference, we have to be intentional about it. Choose who you're going to influence. Pick one person every day. Choose when you will influence. How about this? In the morning before you go to work, you could send out a text and let the text go to work for you while you're at work yourself. Choose how you will influence. There are so many ways that you can do this. Be creative in it. Put some time and energy into the difference you want to make. Well, the last principle about making a difference would be this. Number 5, inward living will be the death of the difference we really could make. Nothing will kill the possible difference that we can make in this life, like being consumed with our own lives. I have my own problems, you might say. I'm too tired. Nobody ever encourages me. I'm just way too busy. I just want to live my own life. Perhaps you've said one of these statements. But let me ask you a question. What time do we all really have? You know what? We all have actually 168 hours in a week. No more, no less. Let's do a rundown to see what time we have and what time we really have to spend on someone else. Well, let's say you work 50 hours in a week. You spend 8 hours a day sleeping. That's 56 hours. If you add these two together, you have 106 hours. But this means you have 62 hours left. Let's say you eat 3 hours a day. That's 21 more hours. You add those to the overall group. Now you have 127 hours, which means you have 41 hours left. Well, let's say you go to church 4 times a week at an hour apiece. That is Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. Well, that's 4 more hours, which means you're now up to 131 hours. And this means you have 37 hours left. Well, let's say that you have at least 2 hours a day to devote to family time. Well, that's another 14 hours. If you add that to the overall hours, you're up to 155. And we still have 13 hours left. Now, you might be able to say that you spend more or less time in one of these categories or another, but maybe there are categories that are not listed here, like hours on a gaming system, hours in front of a television, hours cleaning your guns, or if you have a Chevy, hours working on your truck. I'm not saying don't spend time on you. What I am saying is we can spend more time on others. There are things that we must take care of to be good stewards of what God has given to us. But we can become so consumed and distracted by that other stuff that we spend all the time we have on us. The more time I spend on me is the less time that I can spend on others. The less time I spend on others is the less time I can change the world. I encourage you to think outside of the world that you live in and include others in your plans for changing the world. I so appreciate you being involved in this podcast. I pray it has been a blessing to you. We have another principle we're going to go to next time. We look forward to that meeting together. Now may the Lord lead you to truth that will free you.